Dear friends, next story, it's resume from my own life experience. Let me introduce you another type of fraud, which affect the most sensible part of humanity, immigrants, and not just, as well us, taxpayers. Like in my previous video, I only will ask you 10 minutes of you value time to protect you and others from misfortune, and of course, I will ask you to subscribe and hit the like button. Have you ever wondered how far-reaching the impacts of immigration fraud can be? Today, we'll unravel this unseen menace, shedding light on its various forms and prevalence. Immigration fraud is a broad term that encompasses a range of deceptive practices targeted at immigrants. One such form is the fraudulent job offer, a cruel bait-and-switch tactic. Imagine you're promised a lucrative job in a new country, only to find out that the job doesn't exist after you've paid hefty upfront fees. The dream of a fresh start is shattered, replaced by financial losses and a sense of betrayal. Then we have document fraud, a shadowy underworld of forged passports and counterfeit visas. Victims of this type of fraud often unknowingly use these counterfeit documents, handed to them by fraudulent agents, leading to a slew of legal consequences such as visa denials, deportation, or worse, legal action. But the deceit doesn't stop there. Take sham marriages, for instance. These are false marriages entered into with the sole purpose of obtaining immigration benefits. Those involved in such arrangements risk losing their immigration status and may face deportation and re-entry bans. And let's not forget identity theft, a crime that leaves victims dealing with a host of financial and legal troubles. Fraudsters steal immigrants' identities to create fake documents, open financial accounts, or carry out other fraudulent activities. The aftermath? A life turned upside down, with consequences that stretch far beyond financial losses. Now, imagine landing a job in your new country, only to be exploited by unscrupulous employers who violate labor laws and pay below minimum wage. They prey on immigrants' unfamiliarity with local regulations, adding another layer of complexity to the immigration journey. These are just a few examples of immigration fraud, each with its own set of devastating consequences. It's a widespread issue that affects countless lives. Now that we know what immigration fraud is, let's delve into the consequences. In our next segment, we'll explore the impacts of these fraudulent acts, from legal repercussions to the psychological toll they take on victims. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the unseen threat of immigration fraud. And please subscribe and hit like button. Imagine losing everything to a scam. That's the reality for many victims of immigration fraud. The first thing to note is that immigration fraud can lead to serious legal consequences. For instance, immigrants who fall into the trap of using forged or counterfeit documents provided by fraudulent agents can face visa denials, deportation, or even criminal charges. The legal repercussions of such actions can be devastating, leaving immigrants in an extremely vulnerable position. But the consequences don't stop at legal troubles. Let's talk about the exploitation in the workplace. Immigrants are often targeted with false promises of high-paying jobs or opportunities for career advancement. Lured by these promises, they may find themselves in a completely different reality upon arrival. The actual work conditions can be vastly different, with lower wages or exploitative working conditions. Some unscrupulous employers may even violate labor laws, taking advantage of the immigrants' lack of familiarity with local regulations. The psychological impact of these scams is another area of concern. Immigrants who fall victim to fraud often experience significant stress and anxiety. The fear of deportation, the financial losses, and the legal issues can create a constant state of worry and fear. This psychological toll can be just as damaging as the financial losses. And then there's identity theft, a particularly insidious form of immigration fraud. Fraudsters may steal immigrants' identities to create fake documents, open financial accounts, or commit other fraudulent activities. This can lead to further financial losses and even more legal troubles for the immigrants. Finally, there's the loss of trust. Immigrants who are defrauded may lose trust in official systems. This makes it harder for them to seek legitimate assistance or report crimes, further exacerbating their vulnerability and isolation. It's clear that the consequences of immigration fraud are severe and far-reaching. Now let's discuss how immigrants can protect themselves. Armoring yourself against fraud starts with being informed. Information. It's 50% of your success in the process. Immigration fraud is a malicious trap, but it is one that can be avoided with vigilance and knowledge. One of the first lines of defense is verifying information. This might sound simple, but it is a powerful tool. If you receive a job offer or an educational opportunity, don't take it at face value. Do your homework. Cross-check the details with official sources. Remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Choosing who to trust is another crucial decision. There's a sea of immigration consultants out there, and while many are legitimate, some are not. So, how do you differentiate? Look for credentials. Reputable immigration attorneys and consultants will have proper accreditation. They are bound by professional codes of conduct, and they have a track record that you can investigate. Staying informed about immigration laws and regulations is also a powerful weapon against fraud. Laws can be complex, and regulations may change, but ignorance can lead to devastating consequences. There are numerous resources available to help you understand these legal intricacies, from government websites to community outreach programs. Leveraging these resources can help you stay one step ahead of the fraudsters. Lastly, don't forget the power of your voice. If you suspect fraud, report it. It's not just about protecting yourself, it's about safeguarding others who might fall for the same trap. It could be an intimidating process, but remember, immigration authorities and law enforcement agencies are there to help, not to harm. They need your input to crack down on these scams. In this journey, you are not alone. There are organizations, communities, and individuals out there who are ready to lend a hand. Reach out, ask for help if you need it. Remember, knowledge is power, and with power comes the ability to protect yourself and others from these unseen threats. By taking these precautions, immigrants can protect themselves from falling prey to fraud. And now, it's the part where the harmed are us, taxpayers. Immigration fraud doesn't just affect individuals, it has a ripple effect on society. The impact of immigration fraud is as broad and diverse as society itself, reaching far beyond the individual victims. Consider the scenario of fake job offers. Not only do these scams lead to financial losses for the immigrants, they also deprive local economies of potential contributions. These immigrants, eager to work and contribute, are instead left with empty pockets and shattered dreams. Legal consequences from document fraud are another area where society feels the sting. When immigrants unknowingly use counterfeit documents provided by fraudulent agents, they may face visa denials or deportation. This not only disrupts the lives of the immigrants but also places additional burdens on legal and immigration systems. Workplace exploitation, another unfortunate outcome of immigration fraud, can lead to systemic issues. When immigrants are promised high-paying jobs that turn out to be low-wage positions or exploitative work conditions, it creates a race to the bottom that can depress wages and working conditions for everyone. Fake marriages for immigration benefits can lead to a loss of immigration status, deportation, and possible bans on re-entry. This undermines the integrity of the immigration process and can lead to broader social mistrust in the system. Unscrupulous employers may exploit immigrants' vulnerability, paying below minimum wage or violating labor laws. This not only harms the immigrants, but also creates unfair competition for law-abiding businesses. Identity theft is another significant societal impact of immigration fraud. When fraudsters steal immigrants' identities to create fake documents or commit other fraudulent activities, it can lead to financial loss and legal troubles for the victims, while also contributing to the overall problem of identity theft in society. At a psychological level, the stress and anxiety experienced by immigrants who fall victim to fraud can lead to mental health issues, which can have a wider societal impact. Finally, the loss of trust in systems is perhaps one of the most insidious effects of immigration fraud. When immigrants are defrauded, they may lose trust in official systems, making it harder for them to seek legitimate assistance or report crimes. As we've seen, immigration fraud impacts not just individuals but society as a whole. The more we understand and combat it, the better off we'll all be. We've covered a lot today, so let's take a moment to recap. We've delved into the unseen threat of immigration fraud, shedding light on its many forms, from fake job offers and document fraud to sham marriages and identity theft. These scams are designed to exploit vulnerable immigrants seeking a better life. These fraudulent activities carry with them severe legal consequences. Immigrants could face visa denials, deportation, and even bans on re-entry. The financial implications are equally dire, with victims often left facing significant financial losses. We also highlighted the grim reality of workplace exploitation. Unscrupulous employers may take advantage of immigrants' unfamiliarity with local labor laws, paying them below minimum wage or placing them in exploitative working conditions. But the toll of immigration fraud isn't just financial or legal. It can have profound psychological impacts. Stress, anxiety, and a loss of trust in official systems are all too common among victims, and this loss of trust can make it even harder for them to seek legitimate assistance or report crimes. In the face of these threats, there are steps that immigrants can take to protect themselves. They can verify the legitimacy of job offers, educational institutions, and immigration consultants through official channels. They can seek assistance from reputable immigration attorneys or consultants with proper credentials. They can stay informed about immigration laws and regulations to avoid falling victim to misinformation or scams, and they can report any suspected fraud to immigration authorities or law enforcement agencies. These precautions can provide a strong defense against immigration fraud. But the fight against these scams doesn't stop there. As a society, we need to work together to create safer, more transparent systems that protect all individuals, regardless of their immigration status. Remember, the best defense against immigration fraud is awareness and education. Stay informed, stay safe. Hope my story was useful and will help to others to protect from this terrible part of fraud. And of course, I will ask again to subscribe and hit like button.